Every time a founder tells me, oh, we'll prioritize design later, what they're actually saying is, we are shipping bad designs right now, we just haven't realized it yet. You are not choosing whether or not to design, you are choosing whether or not to design intentionally. McKinsey research has shown that design-focused startups generate 32% higher in revenue, and most founders still treat design as something that you can add later, instead of the strategic advantage it actually is. And this is especially true in the AI age we're in right now. When technology accelerates building so much faster, design becomes your differentiator. Hi there, my name is Ran and I am a product designer. And for the past 12 years, I've been shipping product on teams like Amplitude, Webflow, and Shopify. And in today's video, I summarize 14 lessons I've learned throughout my career to help you make better product design decisions. And let's get into it. The moment you decide what to build and how it works, you've made design decisions. They are just unconscious ones. When you say we can do design later, what you're actually doing is making information architect choice without realizing it. Shipping user flows with friction that you might not have identified yet. Every product has a design. It's either a good design or a bad design. And bad design costs a lot more in the long term. So here's your new mental model. Design isn't just decoration, it's systematic problem solving. It helps you identify and remove friction before your users hit it. And when you treat design as making things pretty, you miss that design is part of your product strategy. Intuition gets you to the starting line. Data gets you across the finish line. When you're building product, you constantly need to validate. Is this a real problem? Is this a problem that's big enough that people value? Is this something that your user will switch off their current solution and pay? Does your solution actually solve the problem? And do people understand your solution? The trap most founders and product teams fall into is they stop very early on at, people say they like this. This is not enough. Instead, you should be validating every step along the way. So build validation throughout your product development lifecycle and not treat it as something that you can do later when you have time. Every startup I've worked at wants to skip foundational research because it feels slow. But you know what's actually slow? Spending months building the wrong solution. At Shopify, we conducted an onboarding diary study where we watched new merchants in their first months, and we watched where they struggled. We expect to see a lot of struggle with the store builder because it can be quite feature-rich and complex. But we were wrong. What they really struggled, every single one of them, is how to reliably drive traffic into their store. And that's the #1 reason why people leave Shopify to go to a competitor service like Amazon or Etsy. Not because the store builder is hard to use. The real reason is they couldn't solve the distribution problem. If we were to just go ahead and optimize, make the store builder nice, we will spend at least 6 months on something that doesn't even matter. We will still have the same problem. So here's the practice I recommend. Watch your new users for their first 2 to 3 weeks, and you will uncover roadblocks that you've never imagined. And yet some of these problems you can solve and some of these you can't. But now at least you know which problems matter. Quick pause here. If you enjoy these lessons so far, please don't forget to like this video and even consider making a comment. This really helps more people discovering this channel. All right, back to the lessons. Some teams over-index on qualitative data, and some teams worship the analytics dashboard. And winning teams use both. Quantitative tells you the what at a massive scale, and qualitative data gives you rich user insights that explains the why. When your conversion dropped by 15%, your data tells you where it happens. But it's the user sessions and user interviews that tells you what might be the problem. It might be a bug, it might be your new redesign is confusing and people couldn't figure out how to complete their tasks. So qualitative help you form these assumptions, then you can validate with data. Only by combining both together will give you the true confidence that you're making the right decision. Yes, iteration is important. No one can get it right the first time. But shipping fast and iterate doesn't mean you can ship garbage. When you ship broken features, you get bad data that lead to the wrong decisions. Users get stuck, they bounce, they couldn't figure things out, and you conclude, okay, users don't find this feature valuable, when really you just shipped a feature that's not usable. So think of it this way. When you're testing out a wedding cake, you don't just give your customer the icing. It's going to be too sweet without the sponge, the jam, and the fruit. It tastes completely different on its own. Instead, ship a cupcake where you have all the key components without the elaborate decoration. This gives you a much accurate read on whether this feature is useful. So test whole solutions at smaller scale rather than test fragmented solution at large scale. So here is your Goldilocks answers to the eternal speed versus quality debate. It depends on your reach. Think of everything you ship on a 2D grid, where x-axis is the reach and y is the quality. Quality should be appropriate to the reach. If you're just prototyping and test it on 5 users, who cares if it's on brand? If your designer is proposing a new idea, don't expect this beautiful, fully thought out, high fidelity solution before you give any directional feedback. And you're shipping a feature to 10,000 people, slow down, quality matters now. Take your time, make it right, because bugs compound later on. You can move fast and build quality as long as you match your quality bar to the reach. So startups love fancy websites, especially the ones just raised at founding. And I get it, yes, you just raised money and you want to look legitimate. In my experience, these fancy websites will often tank your conversion. Your customers do not have the patience to decode your product. They want to know what do you do and why it matters to them. And if they can't do that in their first 5 to 30 seconds, you've failed. The trendy bento box layout looks so beautiful that may even win you design awards. It's quite confusing, honestly, due to lack of visual hierarchy and lack of call to action. If you have clever instead of clear copies, you risk that you're saying a bunch of things without communicating much. And your abstract, fancy animations often confuses rather than explains. Your website isn't just art. It's a tool that needs to work, and form has to follow function. As a scrappy startup, I don't expect you to have a mature, elaborate design system, but I do recommend you have one from day one. Just purchase one or use an open source one like Shopify and then reskin it to fit your brand and your liking. Having a lightweight system like this will help you develop your product a lot faster, keep things fairly consistent as you move really fast, and will make future development and changes fairly easy. When I was at Amplitude, we redesigned the whole product, including changing the font for the entire product. And the code change to that is literally a one-liner. We changed a variable. If we didn't have a design system, that could easily take a few days of work. So early investment like this is super important and will pay compound interest as you scale. So if I were to found a new company tomorrow, this is the second thing I would do right after having a usable MVP. Track usage data. I'm not talking about your top-line business metric like activation, retention, and signups. I'm talking about the product analytics data, like where users click, how long do they scroll on your page, whatever you need to get a picture of how people spend time in your product. These usage metrics are incredibly useful, especially early on, which gives you a really good aggregated picture on how people convert, what features are most important, and build your journey visualizations, build funnels, identify the biggest friction point, and remove those. There's nothing sadder than having to design in a completely vacuum and have absolutely no data. So stop guessing when you could be knowing. Processes has a bad rap, especially in startups, because it reminds people of red tape. But a little bit of process will help you have some sort of forcing function without slowing you down. A casual weekly design review will provide enough consistency for people to want to share their idea and designs early before it's fully fleshed out. Every Friday customer calls is a fantastic idea to ensure your team talk to at least one customer each week. Add a design QA step on your release checklist will help rally the entire team and focus on shipping quality product. These small processes prevent the "we are moving too fast to care about quality" trap without adding a ton of bureaucracy. If you were to remove all the copy and words from your product, it's just colored boxes. Writing is designing, and what you put in your product matters a lot. Your marketing team might come up with beautiful names like the architect or Atlas, but your user is not gonna know what those words mean. Clear beats clever, descriptive beats creative. Make sure to show your copy to at least one user before you ship. In my experience, product teams spend way too much time debating the perfect logic. Should this button go into this menu or go that menu? Or is this function too weird to be added to the toolbar? Teams want to have a completely logical solution. So here's the truth. Your users don't care about if you have the perfect logic. They just need to find things and complete their tasks. They don't go around evaluating, that's an odd choice. Those are your product managers and designers. So, permission granted if you need to break the logic to bring something to a place that's easier to find. Duplication is fine. Putting things in multiple places is fine. Put high frequency items in the first level is also fine. Optimize for task completion and findability, not the perfect logic. There are two design trends that dominate. One is maximize for the pro users. Think of those as your pro tools, like Photoshop, Illustrator. You need to go to school to learn how to use those tools because they overwhelm the crap out of your new users. And there is the polar opposite, the minimalistic product. It's so calm and beautiful on the surface, but they actually remove important functions and hide them behind 2 or 3 extra clicks. Both approaches are terrible when taken into the extreme. Don't let form or aesthetic trends dictate your UX. Your product needs to be functional. And also, don't let your power users' demand ruin your new user onboarding. Your product should look calm and easy while still functional enough if you are required to spend 8 hours a day in them. Alright, this one is probably the hardest one. Early founders and designers think they know their users. They are the expert their users because they've taken their product to product market fit. But then, as you scale, your user base inevitably will expand. You go from your early adopters to the early and late majority. Your user needs will change. Your tribal knowledge also is a curse. As you look at your UI so much, you become an expert in your own product. And this will also create biases into your judgment. Maintaining a learner's mindset is very important. As you scale, keep an open mind, keep your opinions open. Watch your users struggle, understand your new users, designing for your users now and not the ones you used to have. And that is a wrap. I hope you enjoyed these lessons. The meta lessons here is that there is no magic design pattern that you can use to make your product a success. It's a lot more fundamental than that. Design isn't just making things pretty, but a systematic way to guide you to find the right problem and solve it the right way. Any of these lessons particularly resonate with you? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for future videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.